Have you ever watched a leaf fall not in a rush, not in fear, but in the quiet rhythm of gravity's whisper? No agenda, no plan. It lets go when it's time and trusts the wind to carry what remains. You are that leaf, but somewhere along the way, someone told you to grip the branch harder. They called it ambition. They called it growth. They wrapped your worth in goals, your joy in outcomes, your breath in busyness, and you believed them because everyone around you seemed to believe it too. So you began collecting accomplishments like river stones, thinking that if you gathered enough, they'd build a bridge to peace. But they only weighed you down, and the more you achieved, the more hollow the applause began to sound, until even success started to feel like pressure, not freedom. This is the quiet crisis of modern life. We are praised for doing everything and quietly punished for being still. But what if stillness was not the absence of progress, but the return to truth? What if you were never supposed to become more, only to remember what was already whole? The Buddha taught that desire is the root of suffering, not because wanting is wrong, but because we chase what we believe we lack. We run toward the illusion of better, not realizing we're sprinting away from our own enoughness. Sit with that you right now, without a new title, without another like, without a single extra ounce of validation. You are already enough, not because you have proven it, not because others agree, but because your existence is already a miracle wearing skin. You were never required to impress the sky, to be warmed by the sun. The flower doesn't bloom more beautifully when it's watched. The mountain doesn't grow taller when praised. Their being is enough, and so is yours. But the modern world sells mirrors that distort. It reflects only what is lacking. It shows you people with smoother skin, shinier lives, louder voices. It convinces you that happiness lives in comparison, and that your life must be constantly curated, edited, and upgraded to be worth living. No wonder you're tired. No wonder silence feels scary. No wonder joy feels conditional. But Buddhism offers another way, not by adding more, but by taking less. Less expectation, less comparison, less noise. It begins not with effort, but with pause. Try this. Breathe slowly. Feel the inhale without changing it. Let the exhale be natural. This is not performance. This is presence. Now, ask gently, what am I still chasing? And beneath that, ask, who told me I wasn't already enough? Often, it wasn't a voice, but a culture, a system that ties your value to what you produce. How busy you are, how seamless your smile looks on days you feel like breaking. But you were not born to compete with others. You were born to complete your own path. And the path is not paved with pressure. It's revealed through presence. In Zen, there's a story of a monk who asked his master, "What is enlightenment?" The master replied, "Chop wood, carry water." The monk waited, expecting more. But that was the lesson. Enlightenment isn't found in escape. It's found in the ordinary, fully seen. When you walk without rushing, eat without distraction, love without expectation, you are already there. You don't have to retreat to the mountains to meet yourself. You just need to stop running from where you are, because where you are is sacred ground. If you would only bow to it, you don't need to fix yourself to be whole. You only need to stop breaking yourself to be acceptable. The idea that you must become something greater is the great illusion. What is greater than being fully awake, fully here? There is no success greater than peace, and no peace more profound than self-acceptance. But beware, self-acceptance is not passivity. It's not giving up. It's growing from truth, not guilt. It's effort rooted in love, not shame. When the lotus blooms, it does so from mud. It doesn't curse the soil. It doesn't rush the blossom. It rises because it honors the timing of the earth. So should you. You are not late. You are not behind. You are simply living through a season that cannot be skipped. Stop trying to prove your worth through exhaustion. There is no medal for burning out. Instead, give yourself permission to return to slow mornings, to breath-filled moments, to the sound of birds. Instead of the buzz of urgency, let stillness speak louder than striving. Let simplicity feel like success. Let kindness to yourself be your quiet revolution. You are not lazy for resting. You are not selfish for saying no. You are not weak for feeling tired in a world that never stops shouting. The river doesn't apologize for its pace. It knows that rushing only erodes the banks. You, too, can flow not to keep up, but to keep whole. In a world that measures worth in likes and productivity, choosing to exist gently is a radical act of power, because enoughness isn't something you reach, it's something you return to. It lives beneath the noise, beneath the expectations, beneath the roles you've had to play to survive. It lives in the part of you that knows you were always more than the labels, more than the paycheck, more than the praise or the silence. You were always enough, like the moon is enough, even when it's hidden. So today, walk slower, listen deeper, forgive faster, let the urgency melt, not because you've given up, but because you're waking up to the truth that the life you were trying to earn is the life you already have. The breath you keep, forgetting to notice. That is the miracle. That is the temple. Not tomorrow. Not when they finally see you. Not when the checklist is complete. Now, here, this is it. This is where the real journey begins. There is an old Zen saying, sitting quietly, doing nothing, spring comes, and the grass grows by itself. No striving, no strategies, just trust in the rhythm of what already knows how to be. But we've forgotten how to sit with life. We keep asking the grass to grow faster. We yell at the seasons to change on our schedule. And in doing so, we lose the gentle beauty of becoming. You do not bloom by force. You bloom by alignment. And alignment isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's the quiet decision to stop twisting yourself to fit a mold that was never made for you. It's choosing to honor your own seasons. Even when the world demands spring from your winter soul, somewhere you learned that being valuable means being visible, that if you're not seen achieving, you're not really existing. But the bamboo does not grow above ground for the first several years. It's building roots silently, invisibly, persistently, and when it finally rises, it shoots up in days. What took years to prepare, you are allowed to be underground. You are allowed to be unseen, growing quietly where no one applauds. Don't confuse stillness with stagnation. Don't mistake rest for regression. The greatest growth often happens in the dark, and the most radiant people are those who no longer need to shine for others to know they carry light. You've been told to hustle, to grind, to climb higher and do more and sleep less. But what if the highest achievement was not in reaching, but in remembering who you were before the world told you who to be? A child doesn't ask if they're worthy of joy, they just laugh. They don't earn love, they simply receive it. When did you stop believing that? When did you begin to perform for the love that was once your birthright? Maybe it was the first time someone praised you're doing more than you're being, or the first time you were overlooked for being too quiet, too soft, too slow. But soft is not weak, quiet is not empty, slow is not failing. They are the qualities of the forest, of rivers, of monks, and in those spaces, life breathes more freely. So breathe again, deeply, not to prepare for doing more, but to come home to what already is. There is nothing wrong with setting goals. There is nothing wrong with ambition. But when you tie your identity to what you can't control, success, validation, constant output, you suffer because the external will always change. The applause will fade. The trends will shift. The world will forget. But you who sits, breathes, feels, observes, you are what remains. This is the heart of Buddhist practice, anchoring in the unchanging, amidst the ever-changing, not by escaping the world, but by seeing through its illusions. The illusion that more is better, that faster is wiser, that louder is stronger. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is whisper truth into a storm of expectations. Sometimes the most enlightened path is the one with the fewest footprints. You don't need to be everywhere. You just need to be here. You don't need to impress anyone. You just need to touch the earth with bare feet and remember this moment is enough. And if this moment is enough, so are you enough? Even with the messiness, enough. Even with the questions, enough. Even with the ache of not knowing what comes next. The cherry blossom doesn't wait for certainty. It opens anyway. And so can you. Open to simplicity, open to breath, open to the possibility that your worth was never something to earn, only to uncover. When you see a bird fly, you don't ask if it's accomplished enough to be free. It simply flies. So stop justifying your rest. Stop defending your softness. Stop proving your right to be. The need to prove is born from the illusion of lack. But you lack nothing. Everything essential has always been within you, quiet, patient, waiting for the day you'd stop racing and start listening. The body has wisdom, the heart has memory, the soul has direction, but they are soft speakers. You must lower the volume of the world to hear them, and when you do, you'll hear something ancient, the voice of enoughness, pulsing like a drumbeat in your bones, a rhythm not dictated by deadlines or likes or metrics, a rhythm that says, I am here, I am breathing, I am already whole. You don't have to abandon your dreams. Just don't abandon yourself in pursuit of them. Chase only what won't cost your peace. Pursue only what lets your breath stay soft, your eyes stay kind, your mind stay clear. There is a reason monks walk slowly. They are not in a rush to miss life, and neither are you. Slow is not just a speed. It's a form of reverence, a way of saying, this moment matters. I don't need to rush through it to get somewhere better. There is no better than now. If now is lived fully, so take off the costume, release the act. You don't need to be more to be loved. You only need to be real. And reality, raw and unclothed, is already radiant. You are not broken. You are blooming in your own strange way. You are not late. You are learning at the pace of your soul. You are not behind. You are being sculpted by silence, shaped by storms, carved by grace. Live like you're already enough, not because it's comfortable, but because it's true. And in that truth, the world begins to soften. Because when one person chooses to stop pretending, others remember how to breathe. And that breath is how peace begins. Do you remember the first time you watched rain fall? Not as an interruption, but as a rhythm. The sky did not apologize for the storm. The clouds did not explain why they could no longer hold back their tears. They simply opened, and perhaps that is your task too, not to justify the weight you carry, but to allow it to fall honestly, gently, completely. There is a sacred strength in surrender. Modern life teaches you to carry more, to endure more, to prove your endurance, as if resilience means staying silent in suffering. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us clinging causes pain, and clinging to the illusion of invincibility is the heaviest burden of all. To live like you're already enough means letting go of the belief that peace is something you have to earn by suffering first. You do not have to reach rock bottom to rest. You do not need to collapse in exhaustion before you permit yourself a breath. The lotus, though born in mud, doesn't glorify the mud. It rises, it unfolds, it welcomes light. So, too, must you remember, rising is not about rebelling against the mud, but trusting your nature to grow from it. You are not weak for needing time. You are not lost because you don't move like everyone else. The mountain path is not less noble because it winds. It is simply honest, and if honesty was your compass, not comparison. You would arrive exactly where you're meant to be. But to do that, you must unclench your life, unclench your jaw, unclench your timeline, unclench the constant question, am I doing enough? Because beneath that question is the deeper one, am I enough? And the answer is whispered, not shouted. It lives not in achievement, but awareness. You are enough, not because of what you've done, but because of what you are aware. Alive. Here, a candle does not wait to be perfect before it offers light. It burns, it flickers, it simply exists. And in that, it illuminates. So do you. Your presence is enough. Your breath is enough. Your kindness, even when the world is unkind enough. The Buddha never taught that peace would be found in performance. He taught that peace is the natural state underneath the noise, like the lake under the storm, the silence under the chaos. To return to that silence, you don't need to abandon the world. You just need to be in it without becoming it. Let the noise pass, let the waves come, but anchor yourself in something deeper. What is deeper? The sound of your own breath before the day begins, the stillness of your hands when they're not holding your phone, the feeling of being alive without explaining why. This is what you must return to again and again, not more, not better, not faster, but just this right now, the sound of birds you didn't hear yesterday, the warmth of tea that goes unnoticed when your mind races, the soft ache in your chest that reminds you you are human, not a machine. You were never designed to perform. You were designed to feel, to listen, to be moved. Modern pressure trains you to harden, to protect, to outrun vulnerability. But Buddhism teaches us that the softest things endure. Water, in all its quietness, carves through stone. Gentleness is not weakness. It is the path through which all transformation begins. So start gently, not by overhauling your life, not by rewriting your whole story, but by reading the page you're on. With compassion, what is this moment trying to teach you without fixing you? Maybe that silence is sacred. Maybe that pain has something to say. If you stop turning it into a project, maybe that you don't need to be healed to be whole. Maybe that healing is not becoming someone else, but loving who you've always been. And if that feels far, then let it be far. Even the moon, in its fullness, must pass through darkness. You do not need to shine every night. Let rest be holy. Let not knowing be spacious. Live like your presence is not a placeholder, but a purpose. Live like you are allowed to exhale. You are allowed to not have the answer today. You are allowed to walk a little slower, to sleep a little longer, to laugh when things feel too heavy, to cry when others expect strength. Your humanity is not an obstacle to enlightenment. It is the doorway. When the Buddha touched the earth beneath him, he didn't claim perfection. He claimed truth. He said, "The earth is my witness." Can you say the same? Can you live so aligned with your own spirit that you no longer need applause, permission, or permission slips? This is the power of enoughness. It doesn't scream. It doesn't demand. It doesn't dominate. It simply is. It sits like a stone in your chest that no longer needs to be moved, like a breath that doesn't chase the next one, like a moment that doesn't beg to be shared. And in that space, you return to stillness, to center, to the soft light that was never gone, only covered. You are not waiting to be worthy. You are waiting to remember. And when you do, when even for a breath, you live like you are already enough, the world softens, time slows, the pressure lifts, and what remains is peace. The moon does not rush to rise. The wind does not hurry through the trees. Nature moves in rhythm, not in panic, and you are not separate from nature. You were never meant to live in permanent urgency, but you've been conditioned to feel behind, behind in success, behind in healing, behind in becoming someone you think you're supposed to be. Who decided that pace? Who drew the finish line? There is no medal for outpacing your soul. There is no reward for arriving to a place that doesn't feel like home. Let that settle. You do not have to keep up. You only have to keep close to what matters, to what's true, to what brings your heart back to softness. In the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh, there's a gentle reminder: peace is every step, not the final one, not the victorious one, but the one you're in now, this step, this breath, this moment, not someday when you have more, not someday when you fix what's broken, but this exact second where you are enough, simply because you are here. If your life was a garden, how much of it would be covered in weeds planted by someone else's expectations? How much time have you spent watering opinions that don't nourish you? There is still time to clear space, to grow what matters: gratitude, simplicity, awareness, forgiveness, rest. These are not luxuries, these are life, and they do not bloom in pressure. They bloom in presence. So stop waiting for a grand permission slip to slow down. You are the only one who can give it. And when you do, the sky doesn't fall, the world continues. The stars do not dim, but your breath softens. The tightness in your chest begins to release. The constant mental checklist begins to quiet, and something ancient stirs in you, a remembrance that life is not a competition, that joy is not a trophy, that your soul does not grow in hustle, it grows in stillness, in honesty, in gentle self-return. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be seen by yourself. You need to hear your own heart before you ask it to follow anyone else's drumbeat. You need to hold space for the pain that hasn't spoken, for the dreams that were buried under productivity, for the you that existed before the world got loud. Hold that space like a temple, not to worship your wounds, but to finally sit with them, to listen, to learn, to honor them for surviving. You do not owe the world constant improvement. You owe yourself truth. And sometimes truth is I'm tired. Sometimes it's I don't know who I am when I'm not performing. Sometimes it's I want to live gently. I want to live whole. And that truth is enough to change everything. Not because you force it, but because you finally stop fighting it. That's what it means to live like you're already enough. To no longer bargain with your value. To no longer chase peace as if it's a reward for good behavior. To no longer build your identity on a foundation of exhaustion. It means allowing your life to feel like it belongs to you again. It means letting the sunrise be enough beauty for one morning. It means letting a deep breath be your success for today. It means knowing that compassion for yourself is not self-indulgence. It's sacred responsibility. Because when you begin to treat yourself with gentleness, something astonishing happens. The war inside quiets. And when the war inside quiets, you no longer contribute to the war outside. You speak softer. You listen better. You love cleaner. You become the peace you were always searching for. This is what Buddhism reminds us, not in loud declarations, but in quiet practices, in walking without rushing, in eating without distraction, in noticing the spaces between thoughts, in realizing that happiness is not the next achievement, but the release of needing one. You are allowed to lay your burdens down. You are allowed to stop climbing. You are allowed to just sit under a tree and feel the wind move through your hair and call that enough, because it is, because you are, even if no one tells you, even if the world forgets, even if the mirror doubts it, you are already enough. Enough for this breath, enough for this life, enough for the sacred, unrepeatable presence you carry. So live from that, breathe from that, walk from that, and when the world pulls at you again, asking you to be more, do more, prove more, smile, gently, like the Buddha under the Bodhi tree. And remember, you are not here to impress. You are here to awaken, and you already are.